Okay, everybody, here we go. This is my post-market wrap-up on this Tuesday, April 28th, 2020, and it was just lovely, really lovely. We need to put a lovely spin on this. Let's talk about what happened today. So this market was off to the races earlier today. I mean, we opened up higher. Stocks were doing really well. Then all of a sudden, a little headline news, a little fear got injected into this market. Dr. Fauci, I know a lot of people hate this guy. Some people love this guy. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. That's the truth. I don't know anything about the guy. But Dr. Fauci today came out and said that if coronavirus treatments don't work, the U.S. economy could be in for a big fall. Okay, that took the wind right out of the sails of this market. That got followed up by the CDC. The CDC is explaining there will not be a vaccine coming this winter, and we could get a resurgence of this virus, which could be worse than the one we have now. Market obviously did not like this. The 10-year yield dropped. Stocks followed with it. I mean, the NASDAQ closed down just over 1%. Big freaking deal. Honestly, I want to talk about that in a minute. The Dow and the S&P finished down fractionally. Now, here again, we have a market that did give up all its gains earlier. Headline news drove this market. This virus is scaring the living daylights out of people and the market. But again, let's put this into perspective. The market here today had another chance to sell off big, and it didn't happen, even with the 10-year yield dropping, even with crude oil taking a hit. Now, we found out this as well. Our friend, our friend, Steve Leisman, CNBC. Hi, Steve. You probably watch these videos. Steve explains that the Federal Reserve will need to spend trillions more to rescue the economy. Not to take it over because we're bailing out states, cities, municipalities. No. They have to spend trillions more to rescue the economy. I mean, people, you see what's going on here, don't you? It's absolutely and utterly incredible. So let's put some of this together here. The fact, and this is a fact, that the Federal Reserve will be pumping trillions of more dollars into this market, into bailing out everything, into nationalizing corporations is very stock market positive. Hence why, again, the stock market, given another chance to plummet, decides, I'll fall just a little bit. I'm not saying that we're not going to drop tomorrow. We're going to get some big earnings, actually. Right now, as I am doing this, I think Google is reporting. This will give the market some direction for tomorrow. No doubt about it. But it seems to me that every single thing that is thrown at this market as of late, the market just shrugs it off. How about this one? Consumer confidence today, this number came out, made an historic low. Another reason for stocks to sell off, but guess what? They didn't. Because why? The Fed's buying all the debt, and I mean all the debt, and the banks are buying everything else. You just can't make this stuff up. Let me talk about something else you cannot make up. So Steve Mnuchin today said it's not the bank's fault for issuing loans to companies and corporations that don't need them. They were not required to do diligence. They were not required to do it. No. So it's not the bank's fault. They were just giving out money like candy. And if the small businesses missed out, well, I guess it was just too bad for them. Again, you can't, this is fiction. It's almost like fiction. You can't make this stuff up. Think about it. Steve Mnuchin is saying it's not the bank's fault. They were not required to investigate, I guess, who is applying for these loans. Meanwhile, small businesses are getting cremated because all the money ran out and then they had to issue in another one. This was done by design, okay? If any of you believe that this was not done by design, well, then you're deluded. Of course, the cash was meant to go up the food chain like it always does. The middle class is being decimated. Mom and pop shops, they want you gone. Gone. And I know he's talking a big game here, Steve Mnuchin. Oh, we're going to go after these companies. They're going to be punished. Let me explain this to you. The public has a very short memory. None of these companies that took this cash, and some of them are saying they're not giving it back, not even one is going to get in trouble. Remember the big meltdown of 2008? How not even one bigwig banker got in trouble? Not even one. That's the same thing that's going to happen here. Period. The end. Let's talk about a couple of other assets. I already covered crude oil, finished lower. We could absolutely go negative here again. Did you hear about the oil tanker explosion today? There was an oil tanker explosion and several people were killed. That's what I understand. But crude oil failed to respond to the upside. Why? It doesn't matter. We are awash in oil. They could blow up 10 tankers. It probably won't make a difference. And I have no doubt this was a false flag that just went wrong. Some oil tanker exploded. Just happened to blow up. Yeah, right now when crude oil is going negative, they just had to blow it up. Didn't work to prop up crude. No, although it could have dropped further, I guess. So maybe it did have some kind of a desired effect. But it doesn't matter here. With no demand, I would be almost surprised not to see crude oil go negative again moving forward. But we'll see what they manage to pull off. Again, maybe they'll have to blow up 2 tankers or maybe 3 or 4. Or maybe a refinery fire will do it this time. Or maybe some more saber rattling. You remember what happened the last time? The president threatened Iranian gunboats. Iran said, oh yeah, well, we're going to sink your ships. And crude oil made a 40% gain in 2 days. You see the game, right? You see the game that you are a pawn in. You are a pawn in a very dangerous game. Okay, I got a little sidetracked. Crude oil down, despite the oil tanker blowing up. 10-year yield fell, as well as the stock market, after Fauci comes out saying, oh, this is going to be bad if we can find something to treat this virus here. And then the CDC, no vaccine for next winter. Well, we might get a resurgence of this. It could be worse. Market hated it. Bam, we sold off. Well, there you go. Cryptocurrencies did get bid higher. Wouldn't you guess it? Of course, you knew this was going to happen. Silver and gold fell under pressure. I explained to you Sunday we would see pressure on metals. We've had pressure on metals all week so far, the first 2 days of this week. This is a buying opportunity. And for us traders, we will be getting on the long side of the derivative at one point. Yeah, I'm starting to trade the derivative. I did it recently and did very well. I usually stay away from these things, but I have succumbed to the madness. I have succumbed to the madness here. And that says a lot, I think, in this twisted, perverted, hideous environment. But it's only going to get worse from here. It absolutely is. Debt is going to get much worse. The economic news is going to get much worse. We haven't seen anything yet with regard to unemployment numbers. Those are going to skyrocket into the many more tens of millions of people. But again, every time we get a bad number, what is that going to do to the stock market? Well, let's put that together. Every single time, without exception, we've heard millions of people losing their jobs. The last 3 reports, stocks went up. Millions of people out of work, stocks go higher. Yeah, every time. This is because the market realizes the Fed's going to pump. They're going to pump. And just like Steve Leisman said today, many more trillions of dollars. Trillions of that. Like, oh, just conjure it up out of thin air. Well, that's what they're doing here. And they're also funneling it around the entire world. We've never seen anything like this before, and that's our environment. Universal basic income is getting a lot of attention. Even Republicans are now talking about a universal basic income. Of course, look, nothing would make the Federal Reserve more happy than a universal basic income. Nothing in this world is making the Federal Reserve more happy than being called upon to bail out cities, bail out states, bail out municipalities, bail out the country, bail out corporations, and everybody else. They just want to disperse the cash. They don't care. That's really the truth. The more cash they have to create, the stronger they become. The Federal Reserve, like I said, is the government. They are the government of the world. You want to talk about a one world government? Yeah, we have it. And the Federal Reserve is running the entire show. Everybody else, including President Donald Trump, is a puppet of the central bank. You understand? The new world central bank. The central bank of the freaking world. That's the truth. All right, look, that's pretty much it. I think I summed it up here. I explained to you why stocks did what they did today, why we couldn't hold gains, why the 10-year yield dropped, what's going on with crude oil. I guess one oil tanker explosion wasn't enough. Maybe tomorrow we'll get two. We'll see how that plays out. They will prop it back up. But without the demand, it's going to be very difficult. We have no economy. Dead. Zero. And it seems like some people want to keep it shut down longer than we need to. Why? It's a culling. This is a culling on a grand scale, and I think you know that. All right, before I keep running off at the mouth here, I'm going to get going. Love you a lot, and I will see you, you, in the morning. Bye.